when you end up investing in a designer founder, what do they typically get right and what do they typically struggle with and you have to help them?
I don't know that there's a typical, I can stereotype a little bit, but I would say that from what I've seen, designer founders are as broad of a set of people as kind of founders. And
Hmm.
what I mean by that is like, you have the designer founders that are super into craft. You have the designer founders that are actually like really into business building and want to use design as kind of like a superpower in building a business, and they actually see business building as a design endeavor. You have designer founders who basically are like, I'm done with design and I just want to build a company, and like I
Hmm.
don't even, yeah, or even there's even a more extreme, which is someone who just thinks design is shit. Like I was a designer, I spent all my time massaging rounded corners, and that's crap. And I'm over that. And I don't even believe I don't. They've kind of like rebelled against it in some ways. So I would say there's a huge swath of people when even within the designer founder ecosystem. So when we got started a designer fund, our thinking was, how do we invest in companies that value design? And the easiest way to do that is by using the filters. Do they have a designer on the founding team? And it was a pretty good filter. But what I would say is that there were a lot of founders that came to us in those early days, and the Stripe founders are in that bucket where they said, look, okay, I'm not a designer founder, but just look at my actions, look at where I've put resources into it, look at what I've brought resources into, and it's very clear that they value design. And in some cases, founders who value design that are not designers have actually done a better job of resourcing design than designer founders, because I think they have the ability of saying, I'm not a designer, and I think it's really important. And so it almost comes off as more, it's less self-serving, if you will, right? If I'm an engineer that super values design and I'm the CEO of the company, everyone's like, wow, okay, well, if that person thinks design is valuable, and it's not like they're just like playing to their own thing. It must be important, right? And so over time, we've much more decided, we've come to the conclusion that it's more about investing in founders that value design,
Hmm.
and they can be designers, but they don't necessarily have to be. And in terms of what are the mistakes, if I had to generalize like the things that they're strong at and the things that they're weak at, designer founders are amazing at manifesting the future because they can basically create something that looks built and real. They can build this brand, they can build a marketing site, they can build a product before it's shipped, so that they can basically, instead of telling you with words, they build the thing, right? And you just say, wow, I can see what you mean when you're pitching me on something because it looks like it's built, right? So that's a huge superpower. They're amazing at storytelling. So brand building, product building, storytelling, those are all strengths. I would say where a lot of designer founders can be weak it's like there's like dozens of things you need to be good at as a founder. Sales, fundraising, which is related to sales, hiring and recruiting, setting business, financial projections, all those things. So I think what we talk to designer founders about, and actually, we tell almost every founder this, is like, what are the things that you're good at that you're going to lean into? What are the things that you're not good at, but you want to get good at? And let's figure those out. And what are the things that you're not good at that you don't want to be good at that we need to outsource or get someone in here who's going to take those off your plate? And so we definitely look a lot at the composition of the founding team and making sure that we have kind of that balance, that the key pieces are somehow covered by the founding team and potentially also by the investing team. And so for designer founders, it often means that they have someone who's a domain expert or someone who's an engineer or someone who's really good at operations. It tends to be that designers don't love those kind of things. Designers tend to focus on brand, product. I'll just say brand and product tend to be the things that designers focus on most.